Hello everyone, I'm Althea, and today we're diving into a topic that touches all of us, dealing with criticism. Criticism can come from various sources: friends, family, colleagues, or even strangers. It can be constructive, helping us to grow and improve, or it can be harsh and unwarranted, leaving us feeling hurt and defensive. Regardless of its nature, how we handle criticism can significantly impact our emotional and spiritual well-being. Reckless words pierce like a sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing, as Proverbs 12:18 reminds us. This powerful verse highlights the dual nature of words. They can either wound or heal. When faced with criticism, it's essential to remember that our response can either escalate the situation or bring about understanding and reconciliation. In our journey, especially when we strive to live a life aligned with God's will, criticism seems inevitable. Whether we are taking bold steps in our careers, making personal changes, or simply living out our faith, there will always be those who question our choices. It's important to recognize that criticism is often a reflection of the critic's own insecurities and not necessarily a true assessment of our actions. Critics, often those who sit back and do nothing, seem to have much to say about our lives. They may not understand our journey or the reasons behind our decisions, yet they feel compelled to offer their opinions. It's crucial to discern which feedback is valuable and which is simply noise. By doing so, we can focus on constructive criticism that helps us grow while letting go of negative comments that serve no purpose. They question our motives, challenge our integrity, and sometimes it feels like a personal attack. These moments can be incredibly challenging, but they also offer an opportunity for self-reflection and growth. By examining the criticism objectively, we can identify areas where we may need to improve and also reaffirm our commitment to our values and goals. But how should we handle this? The first step is to remain calm and composed. Taking a deep breath and pausing before responding can prevent us from reacting impulsively. It's also helpful to pray for guidance and strength, asking God to help us respond with grace and wisdom. Today, we'll explore 6 God-centered ways to respond to criticism that not only help us grow, but also maintain our peace and purpose. These strategies include seeking God's perspective, practicing humility, learning from the feedback, setting healthy boundaries, forgiving the critic, and focusing on our mission. By incorporating these principles into our lives, we can transform criticism into a tool for personal and spiritual development, ultimately leading us closer to God's plan for us. In our first step towards handling criticism God's way, we focus on developing self-confidence and a thick skin. This journey begins with understanding our identity in Christ and recognizing the unique gifts He has bestowed upon us. Remember, if you're overly sensitive to others' opinions, you might feel inadequate and ineffective. It's easy to let negative comments seep into our hearts and minds, but we must guard against this by anchoring ourselves in God's truth. God created each of us with unique talents and a purpose that only we can fulfill. Embracing our individuality is crucial. When we understand that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, we can stand firm against the waves of criticism that come our way. When criticism comes, remind yourself of who you are in God's eyes. He sees you as His beloved child, equipped with everything you need to succeed. This divine perspective can help you rise above the negativity and stay focused on your mission. Reflect on scriptures that affirm your worth and His plans for you. Verses like Jeremiah 29:11, which says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future," can be a source of immense comfort and strength. Building this spiritual resilience helps us to not be swayed by every negative comment, but to stay true to our divine path. It's about developing a mindset that is rooted in faith and trust in God's plan for our lives. This resilience is not just about enduring criticism, but thriving despite it. Let's cultivate a heart that seeks God's approval above all, knowing that in Him we have all we need to stand firm. When we prioritize His opinion over that of others, we find a deep sense of peace and confidence. This divine assurance empowers us to face any challenge with grace and strength, knowing that we are never alone in our journey. Our second strategy is learning to ignore backbiting and fault-finding. In our journey of faith, we will inevitably encounter people who criticize us, often without understanding our true intentions or the path we are on. These criticisms can come from various sources, sometimes even from those close to us. It's important to recognize that not all feedback is valuable or constructive. It's crucial not to let petty comments derail us from our mission. When we allow ourselves to be affected by every negative remark, we lose focus on what truly matters. Our mission, our purpose, and our calling are far too significant to be sidetracked by trivial criticisms. Remember, even Jesus faced criticism and opposition, yet he remained steadfast in his mission. These criticisms often come from those who do not understand our journey, or from those who are hurt themselves. Hurt people tend to hurt others, and their negative comments are often a reflection of their own struggles and insecurities. By understanding this, we can develop empathy and compassion for them, rather than letting their words wound us. As followers of Christ, we are called to focus on what builds up, rather than what tears down. Our words and actions should be aimed at encouraging and uplifting others. When we encounter criticism, we should ask ourselves if it aligns with the teachings of Christ. If it doesn't, it's not worth our time or energy. When you hear a comment that serves no constructive purpose, let it go. Imagine it as a balloon that you release into the sky, watching it drift away until it is out of sight. Holding on to negative comments only weighs us down and prevents us from moving forward. Invest your energy in those who support and uplift you, and continue to walk confidently in the direction God has set for you. Surround yourself with a community that shares your values and encourages your growth. These are the people who will help you stay focused and motivated, even when faced with criticism. This doesn't mean ignoring all feedback, but rather distinguishing between what is helpful and what is harmful. Constructive criticism, given with love and the intention to help us grow, is valuable and should be considered. However, we must learn to filter out the noise and focus on the voices that truly matter. By doing so, we can stay true to our mission and continue to grow in our faith and purpose. The third key in responding to criticism is to consider the source. Is the criticism coming from a place of love and truth, or is it meant to hurt? Understanding this can change how we receive the message. If it's from someone who consistently has your best interest at heart, it might be worth listening. However, if it's from someone known to be a chronic complainer or someone who often tries to inflict pain, it's more likely not constructive. Ask God for the wisdom to discern the difference and for the strength to accept valid criticism that can lead to growth, while dismissing destructive words meant to harm. The fourth way is to maintain your composure. Facing criticism can be challenging, but maintaining our composure is key to handling it God's way. It's easy to want to lash back or defend ourselves with harsh words, but as followers of Christ, we are called to a higher standard. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger, Proverbs 15 verse 1 teaches us. When criticized, take a deep breath and pause. Pray for peace and guidance. Respond with kindness and firmness, standing your ground respectfully and reflecting Christ in your words and actions. This not only diffuses the situation, but also shows the strength of your character in Christ. Look for the truth. Our fifth approach to dealing with criticism involves looking for the truth in what's said. Sometimes, even harsh or poorly delivered feedback can contain a kernel of truth that we need to hear. Reflect on the criticism and ask yourself if there's anything you can learn from it. Bring these thoughts to God in prayer and seek His clarity and guidance. If there's something to improve or change, let this be an opportunity for growth. However, if the criticism has no basis, let it strengthen you instead, as you reaffirm your commitment to your God-given path and continue moving forward with confidence. Exercise grace. Finally, the sixth and perhaps most challenging way to handle criticism is to exercise grace. This means not thinking about retaliation or holding grudges. Instead, go immediately to the scriptures for counsel and actions you should take. Offer forgiveness even when it's hard, and pray for those who criticize you. Remember, showing grace doesn't mean you accept wrongful behavior, but it means you choose a higher path of love and forgiveness, trusting God to handle the injustices. By doing so, you set yourself free from the burden of bitterness and open your heart to greater peace and joy. Embrace criticism with faith and love. Thank you for joining me today. Remember, facing criticism is a part of life, especially when you are committed to living out God's purpose. Each of these 6 steps isn't just about dealing with criticism, they're about growing stronger and closer to God through the challenges. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. So let's choose our words and responses wisely. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and share it with someone who might also benefit from hearing about these godly ways to handle criticism. Stay blessed and keep walking in faith and love.